She stood at the sink with her back to me, the water running full blast like it could drown out a marriage. I'd planned it clean. 2 plane tickets to the coast, a long weekend by the water, no phones, no schedules. I set the envelope next to her coffee mug. Let's get out of town, I started. Salt air, you and me. We need a reset. No, she didn't turn. I'm busy. With what? Stuff. She wiped the counter like it insulted her. I'm not in the mood to babysit your midlife boredom. Good, I said. I wasn't asking for a babysitter. I was asking for my wife. I heard you. She tossed the towel, walked past me, and grabbed her keys. Don't wait up. If I'd known where it was headed, I would have skipped the plane tickets and gone straight to quiet decisions. But back then I still gave the benefit of the doubt, like a guy who thinks the smoke in the kitchen is steam. That week I tried again. I moved first because that's what men like me do before we write anything off. We were at the dining table. She scrolled her phone, half a smile at whatever was on it. We can talk later? I offered. I'm sensing distance. I don't want to guess. You're always sensing, she muttered. Not everything is about you. Nothing seems to be, I said. That's the problem. She exhaled through her nose. You've gotten needy. Or maybe I'm noticing I live with a roommate who doesn't pay rent. Don't be dramatic. I'm being precise. Then precisely stop hovering. People change. They do, I said. Sometimes they change addresses. She smirked like I'd told a mediocre joke. Go plan another reset. I have Pilates. I pocketed the 2 plane tickets and crossed off the hotel I'd booked. No open discussion, no speech. I put a new rule on the board. If I'm the only one investing, I stop putting cash in the slot. I moved our budgets to separate accounts that night. When she asked, I said, makes accounting easier. No fight, just a fact. Friday, we were at Mike and Jenna's barbecue. Chicken on the grill, kids yelling, neighbors laughing too loud. Jenna poured me iced tea. Where's Madison? She asked. Work, I said. She'll swing by. She did swing by, 2 hours late. Sunglasses on though the sun was trying to quit. She hugged Jenna, skipped me, and pointed to a plate like she was doing me a favor. Can you make me one? She asked. Mike nudged me with an elbow. Whipped man. He grinned. He jokes like that because he trusts me to fire back. I handed him the tongs. Your grill's on low. Chicken's turning into shoe leather, I said, then turned to Madison. There's the serving spoon. You've got 2 hands. She tilted her head. Oh, we're doing the tough guy act now. We're doing normal adult behavior. You want food, you make a plate. Jenna's eyes bounced between us. Mike pretended to worry about his grill. Madison kept going. You know, if you put half as much effort into being fun as you do into sulking, maybe I'd want to go anywhere with you. I placed my glass down. You missed the last 3 Friday dinners. You answer a question with an insult. You talk to me here like I'm a coat rack. That's not fun. That's disrespect with a cute hat. Wow, she laughed. Lecture me harder in front of everyone. Gladly, I said. Here's my boundary. I don't stay where I'm mocked. You can catch a ride home with Jenna. I'm leaving in 15. I told Mike quietly. I'll take the leftovers container we brought. I'm not doing this show. He nodded because he's a decent man. The timer on the grill beeped like it agreed with me. Madison leaned closer. You're ridiculous. Possibly, I said, but I'm consistent. I set my glass in the sink, said thanks to Jenna, and took off. No scene, no raised voice. Just a reset she didn't expect. I opened one more rule that night. Fridays are mine until respect comes back. I booked a standing reservation at the small diner near the river. The next 2 Fridays I ate there. She noticed. On the 3rd Friday, she tried a different tune. A coffee appeared next to my keys before work. A sticky note. Sorry I've been stressed. Dinner tonight? My treat. The handwriting was neat. The message just warm enough to pass a quick inspection. I walked in that evening and found candles and pasta. She even wore the sweater I used to say I liked. She touched my arm when she handed me a plate. I've been off, she said, chin down like she'd practiced the look in the mirror. Deadlines. Hormones. You've been patient. Patient isn't the word, I said. Alert is the word. She tried to laugh it off. I want us to be okay. All right, I told her. Then let's be okay with specifics. Friday dinners are back on. Phones face down. We go to bed at the same time 3 nights a week. And we plan something together next month that has an address before we pack a bag. Her smile froze for half a second like it got caught on something sharp, then returned. Deal. 2 days later, she forgot the deal. She came in late Tuesday with half an explanation. Work went long. At the salon? I asked. They closed at 7. I grabbed drinks with the girls. Next time, send a text, I said. We had a plan. Don't be controlling, she shot back. Expecting a basic heads up is control. She flopped on the couch and put her feet up like an answer. I didn't argue. I just added a quiet line in my head. Information won't come from her, so it will come from observation. I stopped solving. I watched. I moved my gym time later. I let the house stay quiet when she came home at midnight with the same generic girl's excuse. The next week she stayed out until 1. No text. I woke up, checked the door camera, and went back to sleep. When she finally walked in, I met her in the kitchen with a mug. Good night. I asked. Ugh, you're up. She winced at the light. Don't start. No start, I said. Pattern. Everyone else's husband trusts them. Everyone else's husband must be a genius. I smiled and took my coffee to the garage. Wednesday morning, I met with a family attorney. I didn't rant. I laid out the facts. She listened, took notes, and asked names. We can file and hold service until you're ready, she said. You're not obligated to announce anything before you're prepared. Do it, I answered. Quietly. She printed drafts. I signed. My hands were steady. It wasn't anger. It was clarity, like flipping a breaker when the lights won't stop flickering. 2 nights later, Madison name-dropped a late networking event. She left an address I'd last seen on anniversaries. I didn't ask where. I made a sandwich and watched a game. She rolled in at 4:30, heels in her hand, hair barely pinned, and went straight to the shower. You're up, she mumbled. I'm always up for my own life. I'm not doing this. You're right, I said. You're doing something else. She shut the bathroom door. Saturday morning, I called Carson, a private investigator I'd used once for work when a vendor tried to pass off fake certifications. He's unflappable and overqualified. What do you need? He asked. Schedule, places, who. I gave him Madison's plate number and the name I kept hearing lately, Travis, from old stories she used to tell like they were cute failures of youth. I knew his last name. I knew his wife too, Emily. We'd had them over years back. I remembered her as the one who laughed at everyone's jokes and brought pie in a glass dish with her name on tape under it. Carson did what Carson does. On day 3 he texted, report in your inbox. You'll want to sit. I opened it on my laptop in the truck at lunch. Time-stamped photos, locations, the same car, the same man, the same corners of town that shouldn't matter until they do. Too tidy to be a coincidence, too frequent to be innocent scheduling. My stomach didn't twist. It was done twisting months ago. This was just confirmation that my instincts hadn't turned paranoid. They'd turned adult. I stared at Emily's name in my contacts for a full minute. It wasn't about hurting anyone. It was about honesty, and I wasn't going to walk around letting another person live blind while I acted like a gentleman chewing glass. I called. She answered on the second ring. Emily? It's Daniel. Silence stretched. Hey. Wow. Long time. I need to show you something. It's not a prank. The way you said that, it's definitely not a prank. There's a diner on 5th. Back booth. Half an hour. Okay, she said. Now I'm shaking. Great. She arrived in a navy sweater, hair in a low knot, no makeup, eyes red like she'd been sleeping wrong for a month. I slid the folder across. She scanned the pages while her hands tried not to, then stopped pretending. When she hit a certain photo, she put her fingers on the table and just breathed for a few seconds. How long? She asked. At least a month. Probably longer. I kept my voice even. I filed yesterday. Her eyes flicked up. You filed. I'm not trying to trap anyone. I'm exiting a house on fire. She nodded once, almost relieved that someone finally said it out loud. I'll call an attorney. Call mine, I said. She's sharp and quiet. We can coordinate. Her mouth twitched. We're coordinating now. That's better than being alone and lied to. She let out something between a laugh and a sigh. You know what's funny? He said he had a work trip next week. Long one. Madison just told me she's going on a girls' trip. Of course, Emily muttered. Parallel stories. We met the attorney together 2 days later, Ms. Novak. She looked at both of us over her glasses. I cannot advise in a way that creates drama. I advise simplicity. File, hold service, keep information tight, and be adults. That's the plan, I said. Also, she added, no announcements, no confrontations, no hint that you're aware, until papers are ready and locks are changed if necessary. I nodded. Emily nodded slower. That's going to be hard, she said. I'll make it easier, I told her. We keep our distance at home. We keep our heads down in public. We talk to each other when we need to vent. We did exactly that. We met twice in the park and once in my office lot, sitting in our separate cars with windows down like high school, passing coffee and black humor. She told me about Travis's calendar suddenly full at night. I told her about Madison's new habit of calling me buddy when she wanted me to stop asking real questions. Madison tried another soft angle after she noticed my distance. She showed up at my job with lunch, a paper bag and a smile that had timing written all over it. Dan from accounting spotted her and whistled. Domestic peace treaty? He joked. Madison kissed my cheek, loud enough for the front desk to hear. I miss you, she said with big eyes. I kept my hands in my pockets. You okay? I asked, stepping slightly sideways so she had to move to stay in front of me. I feel like you're pulling away. Sometimes distance is just measurement, I said. You noticed. We should talk tonight. Real talk. No sarcasm. Sure, I agreed. Tonight. She left with a little wave to the receptionist. Dan leaned on my doorframe. You're in trouble, he grinned. Not anymore, I said. I'm in process. That night, she tried to sell me teamwork. I don't want us to drift, she said at the table. I know I've been off. It's not you. It's me being overwhelmed. What would on look like? I asked. I'll be home more. I'll be warmer. I'll be better. Okay, I said. Warmth is measured by actions. You've got a calendar. I'll observe. You're cold. I'm specific. She reached across the table, palm up. I set my fork down and met her halfway with my fingertips. Not a romantic movie, just acknowledgement. She smiled, for show more than connection. 2 nights later, she texted at 6. Girls' trip this weekend. I need it. Don't make this a thing. Where? I asked. Coast. 3 nights. No lectures. Emily texted me 5 minutes later. He just said he has a 2-week training out of state. Leave Saturday. Parallel, I wrote back. She responded with a single line. Well, what do we do? Wait around with envelopes or spend the time right? Wait. I wrote. No. So what would your proposal be, Daniel? You go first. Let's go somewhere warm, she typed. You and me. We've earned at least 3 days where no one is lying to our faces. Ms. Novak had told us not to swing at air. She said nothing about stepping out of the smoke for a second to breathe. I booked a place near the water under my name. 2 rooms because we are not kids and we respect lines until lines move. We drove down in my truck with the windows cracked, the radio low. Emily talked about her work. She runs a small photography studio, shoots family portraits and school events. I talked about my shop, custom woodwork, repeat clients who call when they want a table to outlive their kids. Your marriage sounds like one of those tables, she said. Sturdy until someone draws on it with a marker you can't scrub out. Good tables can be sanded, I replied. Sometimes you don't want to. We checked in. I took my bag to my room. She took hers to hers, and we met at the beach after sunset. The wind off the water cut the noise out of our heads. We kicked off shoes and walked until the pier lights behind us were small. This is surreal, she said. I'm not supposed to feel okay. Feeling okay isn't a crime. I'm grateful, she said, staring out at the black water. Not for what they did, for what fell out of it. Me too, I said. I don't like the way we got here. I like where we're standing. She glanced at me sideways. I'm glad it was you who called. Anybody else and I would have fallen apart. You get to fall apart for a minute if you need to, I told her. Not tonight, she said, smiling. Tonight, I'm choosing to be alive. We sat on the sand with our jackets zipped to our chins. Waves rolled. The night was simple. No grand speeches. When she leaned into my shoulder, it wasn't an act. It was a decision. I wrapped an arm around her, and we stayed there silent long enough to know that silence could be honest. The next morning, we got cinnamon rolls from a stand that forgot to put prices on anything, and we ate them on a bench facing the water. We laughed at old stories, his obsession with fishing gear he doesn't use, her habit of leaving cabinet doors open and swearing she didn't, my ridiculous organization system in the garage, Madison's collection of new hobbies that last a week. We didn't laugh because pain is funny. We laughed because clarity is lighter than confusion. On the last night, we walked the shoreline again. She stopped. The moon was a weak coin over the pier. "I'm glad they did it," she said, voice steady. "If not, I'd never have met this version of you. I liked you before as our friend's friend. This is different." I didn't make it dramatic. "I feel the same way." "So what are we?" she asked. "Two people who know what we want," I said. "And what is that?" "Peace. Trust. And you." I paused. "If that's mutual, we can stop tiptoeing." "It's mutual," she answered, and there were no fireworks, just two adults choosing a direction. We kissed like we were signing something not with ink, but with intent. Then we went back to our separate rooms because we still had to land the plane, not celebrate Madeira. We drove home a day early. Ms. Novak called as we hit the county line. "Papers are ready," she said. "If you want a clean exit, you act before they return. Do not argue. Do not explain. Leave documents and make physical changes." "I'm already in," I replied. At the house, I swapped the locks. I opened the closet and pulled Madison's labeled tubs from the top shelf. Seasonal clothes, old photo books, kitchen gadgets she forgot we owned. I packed the rest by category. I'm good at systems. Emily parked out front and called me. "I'm at my place," she said. "I can pack my stuff in an hour." "You don't owe him an audience," I told her. "Take what's yours, leave a note with the documents, and walk out. Come to my place. I'll have coffee and a box of trash bags." She paused. "Are you sure? I'm not doing halfway measures." She arrived with her car full and hands shaking only when she wasn't carrying something. We stacked Madison's boxes by the front door with my signature on top of the packet. Miss Novak prepared. Emily took a pen and wrote a plain line to Travis. "Documents are enclosed. My belongings are gone. Do not contact me at work." We set Madison's keys on top of her folded coat. I texted Mike. "If she shows up there, don't engage." "It's handled," he replied, standing by. By sunset, the porch looked like a staging area. I placed the envelope over the top box. I took Emily's bag to the guest room and set fresh sheets. We sat on the couch with takeout and the TV low. It was quiet, honest quiet. They came back staggered the next day. I know because my phone started buzzing like a hornet nest. "You're joking," Madison texted. "What is this? Open the door. We are talking." Then pounding. Then the door camera chimed. Madison's voice through the speaker. "Daniel, open now. Stop being childish." Emily glanced at me, tense. My hand brushed her shoulder. "We don't open," I said. "We aren't obligated to host explanations." The doorbell rang again and again. Eventually it stopped. My phone lit up with new numbers, old numbers, names that didn't matter. Travis called Emily 10 times, then 20. His messages were part apology, part show of strength, part nonsense. She read the first few, jaw set. "You can block him," I offered. "Not yet," she said. "I want to know exactly who he is without the performance." "Fair." That evening I left for the shop because orders don't wait for drama. Madison waited in the parking lot by the front door like a student outside the principal's office. She stepped into my path. "What is wrong with you?" she snapped. "You put my life on the porch like trash." "It's called relocation," I said, glancing at my watch. "I have a meeting." "You think you can just, what, end it without a conversation? You don't even know what happened. You went on a trip with your old flame while telling me you needed girl time. Before that, you were seeing him at night and test driving new personalities at my expense. So what? I'm allowed to have friends. You're overreacting." She folded her arms and leaned back on one hip, buying time. "This isn't about jealousy," I said. "It's about respect. You stop showing it. I'm returning the courtesy by taking myself out of range. So that's it. Papers and a door in my face." "You made the choice," I said. "I'm just filing the paperwork." "You're heartless." She tried for tears and got water with no context. "Don't mistake my patience for confusion," I said. "And don't come to my job again." "I deserve a chance to explain." "I gave you a dozen," I said. "You used them to practice cold shoulders." Her mouth opened and closed once. "You're going to regret this." "I prefer sleeping," I replied. "This conversation is over." I walked past her into the shop. Dan at the front desk raised his eyebrows. "That looked fun," he said. "I'm switching my lunch to earlier," I replied. "Put a note on the calendar, No walk-ins today. Back home, Emily was on my porch with 2 coffees. She looked at me with the how'd it go face. She tried the last-minute speech. I answered in bullet points. And Travis? He's sending you novels. She handed me her phone. He'd finally resorted to mockery, the kind that always shows up when charm fails. You'll crawl back, one message read. You can't do better. Don't embarrass yourself. Save them, I said. Not for court. For memory. So you never forget why you left. We watched a movie that night and made a list of practical things. Utilities, forwarding addresses, the dry cleaning ticket I forgot in my jacket, the dog bed for her small rescue dog that would arrive next week. We didn't plan our future like kids with glitter pens. We planned like adults. Storage space, a chore split, Sunday schedules, and who would handle which bill until the dust settled. Madison went quiet after the parking lot scene. No more doorbell marathons. Just a long, slow silence where she probably realized the performance budget was spent. Travis, on the other hand, kept sending theater until Emily stopped reading aloud. She didn't block him. She didn't answer either. That's a stronger muscle. Weeks passed. Papers moved through the system while life settled into a normal rhythm. Emily and I cooked simple meals and learned each other's styles. She leaves the sponge in the sink. I always hang it. I hate clutter on the counters. She organizes by piles. We adjusted because you can win respect is the language. We didn't announce anything to anyone. People figured it out from the absence. Mike came by one Saturday with a box of old tools I'd loaned him years back. I heard rumblings, he said on the porch. You good? I'm better than that, I answered. Emily waved from the kitchen, and he nodded like it clicked for him. Good, he said. You always had a spine. I'm glad she didn't take it. When the last of the documents were ready, Ms. Novak called and said, we can finalize on Tuesday. No ceremony, just signatures. Tuesday came. I wore a plain jacket and a steady face. Emily signed hers in a nearby office. Afterwards, we met at a small place for lunch. No champagne, no speeches. What now, she asked. Now we live, I said, and we do it clean. We waited out the required time. The final notices arrived. I kept the house, the shop, the truck. Emily got what she was entitled to from her split with Travis. He didn't take it well, from what I heard secondhand from a neighbor who knew his cousin. I didn't care. Not my problem. Madison moved into an apartment across town. She posted pictures of new beginnings that looked like old habits with new cushions. We didn't rub anything in. We didn't run a victory lap. We just started showing up places together without the old weight. On a Sunday afternoon, 6 months after the beach, we had friends over. Mike and Jenna, my neighbor Mrs. Alvarez who insists on watering everyone's plants when they forget, Dan from work who brought homemade salsa that was either legal or a problem. Emily set out bowls, laughed with Jenna about something I didn't catch, and checked the roast in the oven. Jenna bumped my shoulder. So, you too? Us too, I said. I like it, she replied. You look like your shoes fit. That night, when the house was quiet, I pulled a small box from my jacket in the closet. I'd picked it with more thought than I put into buying my first car. I'm not a man who rushes or performs. I'm a man who decides. Emily walked in as I stood there with the box in my palm. She paused. That what I think? She asked. It is, I said. I'm not doing speeches. I'm asking a question I already know my answer to. She came closer. Then ask it. Stay with me, I said. For good. Let's build something that doesn't need excuses to stand. She smiled like a steady light turning on. Yes. I didn't fit the ring then. That's between us. We sat at the table instead, and I told her the plan for the next month. Some work I'd take on, a short trip we'd earn, how we'd finish the guest room for her dog's bed and a shelf for her cameras. Small, quiet decisions. Real ones. As for Madison, I heard from a friend of a friend that the apartment management already knew her by name for noise complaints and packages never picked up. She didn't call me again. She didn't text. I think she finally realized there wasn't an audience on this side. That's the thing about control. You need a willing partner. I wasn't available. There's no ribbon to cut on a life like this. There's a sunrise, coffee, someone across from you who doesn't make you negotiate for basic respect, and the clean click of a door lock that belongs to you. When I see my reflection in the shop window opening up at 7, I recognize the man looking back. He's not better because someone else failed. He's better because he chose. And if I ever hear that sink blasting full volume again like it can drown out the truth, I won't put out a fix-it envelope. I'll turn the handle off and go to the ocean with the woman who doesn't make me beg for air.